fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction, he's going around the outside of both of them! Maloney!
Oh, he's taken Anderson! Anderson's up top!
Oh my god! Big crash! Oh my goodness, half the field's gonna get rolled!
Second very close. These guys are want to make their way through the field very quickly.
This is it! This is over! I can't believe this! Oh my god!
God, what?
Welcome one, welcome all to night time at Daytona International Speedway. This is week 2 of the Pro Truck Showdown Summer Series presented by Racecraft Simulations and Scamander Coffee Mug. Really looking forward to seeing how things go because we've traded one combined road and oval course for another. The first round of the season at Charlotte Motor Speedway threw up some awesome racing, some crazy incidents, and some very unexpected results. And we're sure to see the same here tonight at the magnificent Daytona International Speedway road course, located in the state of Florida, just in the north of the state. You see the relative locations of the cities around Jacksonville, Tampa. Very historic places, but very historic place indeed is Daytona International Speedway, opened in the 1950s, and the road course at this place has been in active use for just about as long. There it is, the stats. 1985, the current configuration of the road course was opened, and it stayed roughly the same ever since. And, of course, anti-clockwise in length, 5.7 kilometers with an awful lot of flat-out running around the oval section of the circuit. My name's Reese Gardner. Joining me in the commentary box is Jay Kennedy. And Jay, well, we're seeing Daytona International Speedway under lights here for round 2 of the summer series. Cannot wait to see how the racing goes.
Yeah, neither can I. It's going to be an interesting race, an interesting night of action. Hello, everybody. We've got some new drivers joining as well, which should make the racing very, very interesting as well. And the circuit has been a very, very big topic of conversation from everyone in the last little while, because it is a very, very tough circuit, as you found out earlier in the week.
That I did, and it's certainly a track that brings a lot of heavy braking zones, a lot of hairpins, and a fast chicane on the back stretch as well. I ended up doing a lap in practice before this event, and we'll have a little look at what's going on around this place, what you need to do in the Lucas Oil Off-Road Pro 2 truck. Braking at roughly the same point as you usually do for the first turn here, but you got to try and tip it in here in second gear and get on the throttle a bit sooner than you think, just to induce a little bit of oversteer, keep the truck rotating as you go through the chicane of turns 2 and 3, and then braking for the International Horseshoe. Very easy for the rear end to flick out, as you see there, but in first gear, just smashing back on the throttle and up into second, and that exit is going to be incredibly important. We might be seeing cars go side by side through this left-hand kink, and you see the amount of body roll that the truck goes through. The track narrows up quite a bit through here, and into the second of the right-hand hairpins. It opens on exit and then tightens up, which means we're probably going to see some banzai braking maneuvers into there. Also into this corner, leading onto the oval. Very tight, and you see I actually missed the apex there, so not the best of laps from me, but I managed to hook it up on the exit, and then we get out onto the Nascar Oval section, and this, Jay, is where the draft really comes into play. We're going to see some massive slipstreams here.
Yeah, we were sort of thinking around where you'd want to be on the last lap, and I don't think you want to lead coming onto the oval on that last lap, because you're going to get overtaken, there's no doubt about it. But the other issue is that you almost run out of pace coming to the finish line. So it's going to be very, very tight. You want to get the move done before the finish line. But even the bus stop, really, really tough to get through. And you did a good job through there, actually. So you did very, very well. But lap time's very, very impressive as well.
I was pleasantly surprised with this one, doing a I believe it was a 2:08.3. Of course, that's been smashed already in qualifying by 2 seconds. Poe Albert going to the top on a 2:06.325. but getting a good exit out of the bus stop sets you up really well for the run down to the start-finish line. And for the fastest line, you will have to stick all the way to driver's left, and that is the lap at Daytona International Speedway. So we're in qualifying right now, and that's the way the standings go at the moment. Have a look at the gap at the front between Snell and Albert, 24 hundredths of a second. That's incredibly close, and we still have half the field yet to set their times.
Exactly right. There's a lot of drivers yet to post a qualifying time at the moment, so it means that we're going to see a few more times come in that will probably go in that mid-pack, but there's a few drivers that may fight for that top spot. Brenton Hobson, I'm seeing, hasn't posted a lap time as of yet. Jake Maloney won't post a lap time.
Well, there he goes.
Hobson goes to third, pretty close, but not quite enough to get Bo Albert. Lindsay Hobbs also just posting his first lap time. I must say that new livery for the Synergy Sim Racing guys, absolutely beautiful. It looks unreal.
Yeah, especially under lights, and Brenton Hobson will be happy with his recent form. He ended up winning the final race of the Pro Truck Showdown season proper at Interlagos 2 weeks ago. Riccardo Morganti, meanwhile, in the number 25, I don't know if he's going to get an opportunity to complete that lap because the session is now over, and it looks like the grid has been decided for the first race of the night. This is going to be a 6-lapper, and it will be headed up by series debutant Bo Albert, with Ben Snell alongside him. Snell winning the final race at Charlotte last week. Brenton Hobson and Justin Howe on row 2, with Daniel Stevens and Sam Devantier in 5th and 6th. Ryan Jones and Lockie Dalton lining up 7th and 8th, and it's Sam Stride and Dwayne Priest rounding out the top 10.
We go over the page to Tommy Heyman and Gregory Pavel. Then we've got Cade Donnelly and Hayden Veld, Todd Maxfield and Lindsay Hobbs on row number 8, Damien Westbrook and Aaron Gilbert row 9, Christopher Finlay and Philip Howe rounding out the top 20.
Bradley Kemp lining up in 21st, another new name to this series. Jake Maloney, who we saw at Interlagos, do quite interestingly, and the field's been rounded out by the drivers that you see here: Sadler, Roffey, Blanche, Trezise, Morganti, and Dylan Gray in the 28th and final position. This is the biggest Pro Truck Showdown grid we've had in quite some time, and we've still got 50 seconds left on the timer for the drivers to join the grid. It's going to be an interesting standing start here, because as you can see, they are on the banking in the tri-oval. It means that the trucks are probably going to lurch to the side once they get off the line, and depending on how much wheel spin you get, we might even see a few spinners.
Yeah, it's something that a lot of people wouldn't have even thought of or practiced as well, so they're going to have to be a little bit careful. But here we go, race 1, 6 laps tonight.
Indeed, the lights are up, the revs are rising, and we are away. Pro Truck Showdown Summer Series at Daytona, and that's a great start from Ben Snell. Up on the high side, Bo Albert just could not get the power down there up the front, and taking to the apron, Ryan Jones getting around Daniel Stevens there for what looks to be 5th place. So Snell leads the way into turn 1 as the big crush happens in the midfield. It looks like most everyone is staying out of each other's hair through that first turn, which is good to see. But up towards the front, there goes Bo Albert on Ben Snell up the inside, and Justin Howe going all the way to the grass on the inside of the corner. That's Albert back in the lead, and now Snell facing off against a lot of pressure here from Justin Howe. The top 3 already breaking away from the rest of the field. Brenton Hobson is the cork in the proverbial bottle behind, because Ryan Jones there trying around the outside of him, but cannot get it done just yet.
He can't get through. Hobson did look a little bit faster through the second half of the lap. He did nail the bus stop chicane on quite a lot of his laps in practice, but you can see how quickly that gap closes up, and it will close up even more in the draft as Jones runs wide, almost into the tyre bundle, and have a look at that from Lockie Dalton, 2 for 1.
Yeah, taking advantage of that, because it looked like Daniel Stevens actually gave Ryan Jones a tap on the braking zone into that left-hander. Now they are all together, and the draft is coming into effect, and I can see at the front, Justin Howe gave Ben Snell a draft and is immediately going for it around the outside of Bo Albert. Howe picking up the draft from the both of them. What's going to happen in the bus stop? How brave will Albert be on the brakes? Well, Snell's braver than anyone and just manages to pull it up in time. I don't know if he'll get a slowdown from that one. There's going to be a lot of off-track 1Xs here tonight, but that ultimately has brought Brenton Hobson up into contention for the podium positions, right behind Justin Howe now, number 78 versus number 88, and the draft comes into effect now. Let's see how much bump drafting they end up doing down the front straight. Albert back into the draft of Ben Snell, who's basically a sitting duck here. The three of them on the high side, all line astern, and Snell is probably going to go back to fourth here by turn one. Justin Howe almost getting up into the wall there. Slight tap from Hobbo behind and tries around the outside of turn one on Bo Albert, but just runs off the circuit onto the concrete that has less grip and back into fourth place. But now Snell, Albert and Hobbo all battling for the top three, and there goes Hobbo up the inside of Snell. He tries to stay out of Bo Albert's rear bumper but doesn't quite do it. Snell gets bumped out of the way and Albert maintaining the lead, but side by side coming up to the left-hand kink in the infield. This is not going to be good for our top four. Oh no, and there's a truck around in the background. That is the number 30, and that is Tommy Heyman.
That doesn't look too much of a fun spot to be upside down at that point, and we'll see what's happened there. Just got in a little bit deep, almost looped it around, and then Hayden Veld nowhere to go, and he just helps him over and roly-poly. I'm glad he's got some sponsor logos underneath the truck, helps him out, but no help to get back on his wheels, back in the pits. Might be race done.
That's a big shame for Tommy Heyman. We won't be seeing him for the rest of this race, but hopefully he takes to the grid again towards the rest of the night. Back to live pictures and to the lead of the race, though, because we're looking from Justin Howe's perspective here. You see Brenton Hobson going all the way down into the apron, and that, I believe, coming off the...
Howe got put in the wall.
Wow. Oh, goodness me. This is very high-stakes racing happening at the moment, as that momentum from Brenton Hobson was more than enough to gain the lead coming into the bus stop. Bo Albert cutting the exit of the chicane for good measure. He's pushing very hard, but you know what? This battling between the top four has now made it a top six battle, because Lockie Dalton and Ryan Jones have managed to latch onto the back of this train. Oh, careful, Ben Snell tries to find a way around, but goes all the way down to the apron once again. Justin Howe now is on the back of him, trying to go in the same direction. Three wide as they come up to the line, and Snell still in the lead as they cross the line, but Howe moving to the inside. He's going to go for the move here at turn one, and all of them trying to occupy the same bit of racetrack, 2x2, 3 deep. I love this series. I love that kind of racing, but the top six now all together, and it seems that the rest of the field have formed into their own clumps, as that's Daniel Stevens with a problem at turn one. Oh, Ben Snell's just made contact with Justin Howe and pushed Lockie Dalton wide as well. That means that Brenton Hobson's taken advantage, and he's moved up into second ever so briefly, but coming up to the left-hand kink in the infield, it's Snell with the advantage. Hobson having to lift out and yield there, and loses an extra position for his troubles as Bo Albert tries going by. Into the braking zone they go, and Hobson asserts his dominance on the inside as Ryan Jones gives Bo Albert one heck of a tap coming into the hairpin. So 2x2 once more into this left-hander. Who's going to be the bravest this time?
Well, you get your breath back for a sec there, Rex. I did have to go back. I saw Daniel Stevens was stopped on the circuit. I had to go back and double check that we weren't getting another sausage roll on the door, but thankfully no extra sausage roll. He has dropped a long way back, was in 7th, now back into 16th position. So he's going to have to work hard to come back from that. Interesting, starting at the back of the field, we had Jake Maloney. He's already up into P13, but this battle for the top 6 is incredible. Stride in 7th, not able to keep up with these guys. He's now losing ground.
Look at the draft from all these guys. Lockie Dalton is getting the best of it, almost gets into the back of Jones, as Albert, Hobson and Jones all trying to work their way through the bus stop chicane here, and Ryan Jones just makes it through, but I don't know if that's going to be a slowdown for him. He doesn't seem to have lifted out of it just yet, so I think he might have just gotten away with it, but Justin Howe and Ben Snell have broken away from all of these guys with that fighting through the bus stop. The draft, we do have to remember though, comes into effect from about a second back, so they will be experiencing that pull towards Howe and Snell. Albert's the one in 3rd place with Jones in 4th, and Snell pulls out on Justin Howe as the rest of the pack creep up to them coming into the braking zone. Goodness me, another tap. Snell on Howe, and both of them going wide in turn one. That's allowed Bo Albert through into the lead of the race, and Ryan Jones might have something to say about getting into second, and all of them coming off the track in some way or another. Ben Snell, with one heck of a lock-up there, goes really wide. And, wow, Ryan Jones has gone wide as well. Bo Albert now into the lead of the race, and now back to Justin Howe again. It's changing, wow, corner to corner, sometimes 3 or 4 times a corner, and they go side by side through the kink. How did they manage that? Hobbo gives a tap to Justin Howe, and both Jones and Albert sent wide. Big oversteer from Bo Albert, and it looks like Justin Howe once again with the advantage on the throttle application. No one going for a big move at that turn, but wow, briefly making it 3 wide there. Howe's got to get on the throttle as soon as he can to try and stay with these guys coming down the back stretch, as Albert and Jones are now your top 2, and Hobson might just make it a top 3 here as he's in Jones's draft. Whoa, 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 whoa.
I'm surprised to see Hobbo drop down to the apron like that. I don't know if that was intentional or an accidental sort of drop down, but did ruin the momentum for a moment. But he has helped push Ryan Jones into the lead, into the bus stop. Albert just holding on from Hobson in the second, and they've been able to clear a little bit of a gap there because Howe had to get out of the throttle to make sure he didn't make contact with the rear of Brenton Hobson.
I'll tell you what, this battling is starting to bring the rest of the field back into contention. Sam Stride is going to be, wow, okay. That's the closest look I've gotten at Bo Albert's livery so far. Side by side between the two of them, but if we look a bit well, okay, all right, we're just going to keep looking at these guys then. Screw the rest of the field, apparently. This battle's just too intense as Hobson is in the lead across the line. 4 wide across the line. Justin Howe with the most momentum, and Ryan Jones, oh, he was tempted to go for the inside, but there was a big tap from Ben Snell, and that's Brenton Hobson now through into the lead, as Jay's dog is very excited by this racing, as am I. So, there goes Jones up the inside into the International Horseshoe. Brenton Hobson is going to have to give him room here, and it looks like Sam Stride on the back of this battle now. He has dragged Dwayne Preece and Damian Westbrook with him. Behind them is the pack just outside and just within the top 10. Cade Donnelly, Sam Devantia, Gregory Favell, and Jake Maloney. So now it's going to be a long line of cars on the final lap, which is the next lap. There goes Jones up the inside of Hobson into the second International Horseshoe, but Hobbo with the outside line now has the advantage for the upcoming left-hander. Doesn't quite push Jones off the track, gives him enough room there, but straight back onto the throttle and keeps that momentum. Ryan Jones going for as much of the racetrack as he can, as that was Ben Snell just tapping the wall on the exit of the corner.
What an intense battle this is, and as you said, it brought the entire field together now. It's not just a 6-car breakaway, then a 9-car breakaway. We've got the top 13 cars within 5 seconds of each other. Incredible racing. And this is going to come right down to the wire with a lap and a half to go. I don't know who's going to win this, and I don't know what position you want to be on the last lap.
Oh, that's a tap. Justin Howe on Brenton Hobson, and Hobson had to take avoiding action going across the grass. He's going to have a slowdown that he will have to clear, and Ryan Jones will have the advantage on him, but you don't want to be the truck in front coming out of the bus stop on the final lap.
For Hobson.
Yeah, actually it could. If he falls back behind these guys, then he'll definitely have an opportunity. Oh no, there we go, that's contact! And that was Bo Albert just making rear-end contact with Justin Howe. It seemed that paired with the banking to make Howe slide. So now it's Hobson, Jones, and Snell 3 wide for the lead as the final white flag flies. Lockie Dalton now has Sam Stride behind him. Ben Snell tries his best to get through the turn, but taps Ryan Jones wide, and they are back into 4th and 5th. Sam Stride has managed to put himself in contention for a podium here out of nowhere. Ben Snell tries up the inside of Lockie Dalton, just can't get it done, pushes himself wide, and Ryan Jones, opportunistic as always, gets up the inside, and oh, Ben Snell's having to recover. That sends Bo Albert right off the track, and they can't get out of each other's hair. Bo Albert can't get off the circuit.
Wowee, what a bit of bumping and pushing and shoving, and Albert's back to 9th. He started this lap in 3rd, and that incident coming up to the start-finish line on the previous lap was caused by Albert.
Been smacked.
Yep, as Hobson's way back now into 11th position. That incident with Justin Howe, Bo Albert, Howe had to check up a little bit because Hobson was a little bit down on pace and Albert was into the rear of Howe. These guys are going at it. This is all on here. This is the World Championship for Heat 1.
Well, Lockie Dalton's managed to break away from all of this. He avoided all of that, and now he's got quite the lead over Ryan Jones that I don't know will be able to be overcome. We'll have to wait and see towards the end of the straight. It is on for third, though, because Ben Snell, Sam Stride, and Dwayne Preece are all fighting it out now between themselves for this. Ryan Jones just creeping up to the back of Lockie Dalton, coming into the bus stop, and Dalton's run wide, and so is Ben Snell, overshooting into the corner. Ryan Jones with the better exit, and this means that he might just have enough to take the race victory here. Dalton is going to make it as difficult for him as he can. The bump drafting begins, coming up on the run to the line. The top two have now broken away. They've got to be careful, though. Ben Snell currently in third place, but it might be taken here by Dwayne Preece or Sam Stride on the run up to the line. Ryan Jones going all the way down to the apron. Lockie Dalton might just have it here. Contact across the line, and it's just going to be Dalton who takes victory there, with Dwayne Preece completing the podium. A 4-car finish covered by less than half a tenth of a second there.
1.04 seconds separating the top six as they all have an early expression session. What a race that was. And guess what? We get to do it all over again in the next couple of minutes.
Oh, goodness me. We need a chance to catch our breaths at least. Lockie Dalton takes it by 0.021 from Ryan Jones. What a gap there. Dwayne Preece, Sam Stride, and Ben Snell round out the top 5, with Bo Albert, unfortunately, settling for 6th after starting from pole. Justin Howe, Damian Westbrook, Jake Maloney, and Brenton Hobson rounding out the top 10. A big shame for Hobbo as well. He certainly had potential for victory.
Definitely, he'll be disappointed with that, but it means that we're going to see a good show from him coming back through the field into potentially the lead of race 2. But Cade Donnelly, Sam Devantier finish 11th and 12th with Gregory Favell, Hayden Veld, Zach Blanche, Brian Trezise, and Aaron Gilbert, Lindsay Hobbs, Todd Maxfield, and Christopher Finlay rounding out the top 20. You keep your breath, catch your breath again, and I'll keep going through these. Craig Roffey. Then we've got Daniel Stevens, Bradley Kemp, all the last of the finishers. And we've got Gavin Sadler and a couple others still that are lagging at the back. Gavin Sadler did not start the race, so he will finish behind that position it says on screen. Richard Morganti has just come across the line, and Philip Howe, who did have to come in and get a truck repaired during that race, he's about to come across the line and finish as the last of our finishers. Wowee. Glad he's taken a little bit of extra to get to the line, because it's given us a chance to actually have a little bit of a break then.
Yeah, wowee indeed. Unfortunately, Gavin Sadler and Dylan Gray not taking to the grid. They had some technical troubles as the spectators in the stands take their photos of Philip Howe coming across the line. So now we can move forward a bit further. It looks like something has gone wrong somewhere in the event format, because the second race has been skipped and we are in the warm-up session now.
That's a bit strange. Not sure what's happened there, so we'll see if we're going to just run with the 2 races tonight or what's going to happen. But yeah, a little bit strange that we've had that happen. We might have Ryan, who's in the booth, who's actually in the session, might be able to tell us what's going on. Maybe?
Oh man, I'm exhausted. I don't care if it's 2 races or 3 races.
Fair enough.
The first one was a workout. Justin hasn't said anything yet. We'll wait and see. But man, if the second race is a bit like the first one, we're going to be in for a wild one. 8 laps as well, so...
Yeah, and apparently the amount of flat-out running at this circuit means that if we went for the 9-lap race 3 like we usually do, the trucks actually wouldn't be able to make it to the end on fuel.
Yeah, it was pretty close. I did 2 laps earlier on, and I think I realised there's about 6 or 7 laps of fuel left after that. I was like, yeah, 9 laps will be tight, because obviously we normally have that 5, 7, 9 format, don't we? But obviously, well, it was supposed to be 6, 6, 8 tonight, but it looks like just 6 and 8.
Well, we shall see how things work out. Thank you very much for the brief word, Mr. Ryan Jones, second place finisher in race 1 here tonight. As the expression session continues, the drivers, I think, just laying down as much rubber as they possibly can. But I think this might be an opportune time for us, Jay, to catch our breath a little bit more. Go on a very quick break here between the what looks like to be 2 races tonight in the Pro Truck Showdown Summer Series. You're watching on SimSpeed TV, thanks to Racecraft Simulations and Scamander Coffee Mug.
This is fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction. He's got everything outside of both of them. Maloney.
Oh, he's taking Anderson. Anderson's up to
Oh my God! Big crash. Oh my goodness, half the field's going to get rolled.
Second very close. These guys, I want to make their way through the field very quickly.
Oh, there we go.
Oh no! That's massive!
This is it. This is over. I can't believe this. Oh my God.
God, what?
You're watching the Pro Truck Showdown Summer Series, Week 2 from the Daytona International Speedway Road Course, racing under lights in the pitch dark. Just got under 90 seconds left in the warm-up session before we go live for the second, should have been third, race of the night. And, well, Jay, we had quite the finish there between Lockie Dalton and Ryan Jones. It was only decided by 0.02 of a second, and there were close finishes all throughout the field. That final lap was incredible, and now we get 2 extra laps to play.
Yeah, those extra 2 laps are going to be crazy because we saw what happened about 3/4 of the way through the race that the temper started to flare. So adding some extra laps to it means some drivers are going to lose their patience halfway through. We've got drivers that are way out of position. Daniel Stevens and Brenton Hobson, probably the 2 most notable ones. You also got Tommy Heyman, who we saw upside down early on in the race. He'll be wanting to come through as well because he qualified quite well for race 1. So we've got some drivers that are going to want to get through and get their positions back that they lost and probably shouldn't have lost or didn't deserve to lose. And the amount of bumping and pushing and shoving from everybody in the field, if you were behind another car, you were pushing them regardless of if you were second or 20 seconds. So this is going to be crazy. You can't wait.
Yeah, I can't wait either. Other drivers will be looking for some redemption here. Bo Albert, he's going to start in 6th place after starting from pole for race 1. Justin Howe. Of course, Sam Devantier. He finished in 12th place, but on pace, he was 6th in qualifying. So wait and see how those stories work out over the next 8 laps as the warm-up session is now over. And we can go through our grid for the feature here tonight at Daytona. Basically the same as the finishing order from race 1. It's headed up by Lockie Dalton and Ryan Jones on the first row, with Dwayne Preece and Sam Stride just behind them. Ben Snell and Bo Albert, the 2 main contenders for the win in race 1, starting off the 3rd row. Justin Howe, Damian Westbrook on row 4, with Jake Maloney and Brenton Hobson rounding out the top 10.
Then we've got Kay Donnelly and Sam Devantier next, with Gregory Favell and Hayden Veld on row 7 right, Zach Blanche and Brian Trezise, with Aaron Gilbert, Lindsay Hobbs, Todd Maxfield and Christopher Finlay rounding out the top 20.
Craig Roffey and Daniel Stevens side by side on the 11th row, with Bradley Kemp and Riccardo Morganti on row 12. Philip Howe and Tommy Heyman 25th and 26th, and Gavin Sadler and Dylan Gray listed, but we don't know if they're going to take to the grid. The revs are rising and we're going to get ready to go imminently. And away we go. That's a good start from Lockie Dalton. Unfortunately, Ryan Jones looks like he bogged down there. Have a look at Justin Howe with a great start, as was Sam Stride and Ben Snell, who goes round the outside of Ryan Jones, coming into the first turn, just avoiding the tyre bundle on the inside. Big oversteer for Ben Snell, and now he's mired back there with Bo Albert. They try to jostle with each other through the chicane of turns 2 and 3. Jake Maloney going up the inside of Dwayne Preece into the International Horseshoe, bumps him over, and over he goes. Damian Westbrook having nowhere to go on the outside there, and poor Dwayne Preece, well, at least he landed on his wheels. Someone who didn't land on their wheels was Brian Trezise.
Yeah, he's at the exit of turn 1. So Something big's happened there. We'll see if we can get a replay later on when it cools down a little bit. Oh, Stride. I thought he was going to take out everyone then.
Oh, I thought so too. Oh, be still my beating heart. Away we go. That is Justin Howe off the road, coming out of the second international horseshoe, and Bo Albert going up the inside of Ben Snell. They make contact with each other. Brenton Hobson is going to be loving this. He's going to have the mother of all drafts coming onto the back straight. Lockie Dalton is still leading though, with Ryan Jones and Sam Strong. No, that's Ben Snell who's been sent around and up onto the circuit again. Oh, stay out of the wall. No. Oh, no, that's going to cause big problems. That was Tommy Heyman.
No.
Oh, Tommy.
That's so unfair. Twice in a night he's had an incident that's not his fault. Lockie Dalton takes the lead back away from Jones. That is so unfortunate. Brian Trazee's also out of the race. But Tommy Heyman, your heart breaks for him because he's been so excited about running tonight. And he's had 2 unlucky races. He'll be ruining that it's not a 3-race night, so at least try some redemption. He's continuing on, but he's got the engine damage. He'll be nightmare.
That's unfortunate as the bump drafting is on up at the front. Meanwhile, Ryan Jones going down to the apron and Sam Stride goes with him. They bump draft each other around. There's contact and Dalton gives him the serve back. Oh, onto the grass through the tri-oval for Sam Stride, losing momentum there. And that's going to allow Justin Howe through on the outside into the braking zone though. Stridey a little bit more brave as Hobson going round the outside of Justin Howe. Gave it a red hot go, but ultimately couldn't quite get it done. And there's Jones through for the lead on Lockie Dalton. And there goes Justin Howe trying to make it 3 wide on the entry into the hairpin. Well, Sam Stride gave him the serve back, saying, no, you're not going to do that, mate.
Top 14 separated by 3.5 seconds at the moment. Incredibly tight the whole way through the field. But, Stride's impressed me tonight with his driving. I mean, he's qualified in 9th in race 1, and he's holding his own in this group right now.
Yeah, that he is. Facing a bit of trouble here from Justin Howe, but at least he's got the inside line as there's 2 trucks off the track. That's Damien Westbrook and Hayden Veld who have gone for a bit of an adventure, as that's Sam Stride maintaining the position on Justin Howe. Have a look at the sliding there from Cade Donnelly, who's found himself in the midst of all of this. Hayden Veld right in the middle of it here, and Hayden already turned 1 truck over tonight. He won't want to do it again. Bo Albert sitting in the draft here of the top 2, and Ryan Jones at the disadvantage here, getting out of the throttle as Lockie Dalton switches to the inside. And a bit later on the brakes there for the number 23, but that's a bit too late. He's overshot the bus stop chicane as they all jostle behind. It looks like Sam Stride and Justin Howe got in each other's way a little in the middle of the bus stop chicane. So this means now that the rest of the field is going to latch on to the back of them again as it's 3 wide almost for the lead. Bo Albert desperately searching for a way through here and getting onto the apron to try and get the pass done. They've got to move up into the outside. Lockie Dalton's going to try and keep it in the middle here. Ryan Jones will have to swap behind both Dalton and Albert here to the inside for turn 1. He'll be hoping that Albert will leave a bit of space up on the inside for the turn, but it's not going to happen for now. Lockie Dalton trying his best to hold on for dear life around the outside, just can't get it done, loses the lead, even loses the podium, might even lose 4th place here, because there goes Brenton Hobson right on by, and immediately switches to the inside to defend. He's been bumped forward though, gets into Sam Stride. Fortunately, no big contact there as the lead has changed again. Ryan Jones with the exit on Bo Albert, getting it done as they go through the infield.
Oh, wait, this is crazy. It's so hard to keep up with what's going on because there is so much going on. This is a pack of 10 trucks separated by 2 seconds right now. If you want to see some really close, tight, and for the most part, fair racing, there's bumping, but there's nothing too aggressive. There's no intentional stuff going on. It's good to watch.
Yeah, it is very good to watch. Have to agree there as they're coming out onto the oval again, and oh no, just as we say that, there's a pile up. That's Damien Westbrook on his roof, and I think Lockie Dalton as well. So the race 1 winner, his night comes to an ignominious end. Damien Westbrook on his side, and That's not going to work out very well for him as it's side-by-side drafting for the lead. Bo Albert using the run off the banking for one last run there on Ryan Jones coming into the bus stop chicane. Sam Stride actually pushing him there. The bump draft in big effect as Albert almost overshooting the bus stop. Fortunately, keeping it all together. So now it looks like with that melee in the mid-pack, the top 5 have now broken away. It is Albert, Jones, Stride, Hobson, and Howe, your top 5, with Cade Donnelly and Hayden Veld together for 6th and 7th, with a bit of bump drafting between them. Oh no!
Oh, no.
Oh no! Ryan Jones making contact with Bo Albert, and Albert's been sent up into the wall, and he is over! That's his night done, maybe.
Oh no, now it is.
Yep, very awkward. Very awkward. Bo Albert, his truck is totaled now. I don't know how that's going to work out in terms of race control, but that means that Brenton Hobson has been promoted into second. We'll get a brief racecraft simulations replay.
Wasn't too much in it there. It was just a little bit of a awkward run off the apron. It just sort of shot Ryan back up the circuit a little bit. Definitely nothing intentional there. It's just, yeah, interesting one.
Yes, indeed.
Zesty,
that's a big shame, though.
Bo's bonnet said, zesty.
Yes, quite zesty. But we still have a race on here, and it's currently led by Brenton Hobson, who's somehow managed to find his way into the lead at the start of this 4th lap. It's now Jones and Stride completing the top 3, and Cade Donnelly, in his continuous advance forward, is starting to latch onto the back of these guys. Jake Maloney, meanwhile, almost spun by Aaron Gilbert, so we'll have to wait and see if he's going to work himself out towards the end of this. Tommy Heyman is still out on track.
It's no longer.
That fastest lap graphic came up at a very inopportune time, I think, as it's on for the lead. Once again, Hobson lifting out early. Ryan Jones goes for the lead into the bus stop, and Justin Howe lurching forward almost into Sam Stride. Now it's going to be a top 7 battle, I believe, because Donnelly, Veld, and Maloney all together on the exit of the bus stop, and they have the draft on this pack up ahead. What a great view Maloney has.
Not wrong about that, he's got a great...
Oh no, Justin Howe's turned Sam Stride. They both lost pace coming off NASCAR 3 and 4, but fortunately they both managed to keep going, and both of them head straight for the pits. That's interesting. Electing to get damage repaired, I reckon.
Yep, and I think that lap from Tommy Heyman may have been fastest lap, may have actually involved a slowdown penalty. I believe he's been disqualified for doing his laps, basically just doing the oval rather than the bus stop chicane.
Oh. Right.
That would make sense as to why the fastest lap was so quick.
Yeah,
after he came out and got his fast repair.
Yes,
Striding now back out. Speaking of fast repairs.
Yes, indeed. So Sam Stride and Justin Howe both out onto the circuit as we take a look at Daniel Stevens with a sliding Ben Snell just up ahead of him. Aaron Gilbert trying his best to pick his way through this mid-pack, and Stevens bumping him out of the way here. Aaron Gilbert, though, straightens it up as we ride on board with Sam Devant here alongside Mr. Gilbert. Is he going to go for the inside coming onto the oval? Nope, just going to stay on the racing line and go for the draft. It seems like the top pack has broken away from these guys. This sub-pack is currently headed up by Craig Roffey in 6th place at the moment. And Aaron Gilbert moving up into the middle of the circuit. Sam Devantier sees it and goes for it. A little bit of contact between the two of them for good measure, but well in the draft of Daniel Stevens. And will we see Devantier go for the move at the bus stop? Nope, big draft, and then onto the brakes once again. Moving briefly forward to the front of the pack, though, Ryan Jones now is going to have to fend off against Brenton Hobson, as when they cross the line next, they'll have 3 laps to go. Hayden Veld up the inside of Cade Donnelly. Barely enough room left there on the inside. They've got to be careful here. but they've got the double draft. They're in third and fourth, and now it is side by side for the lead just up ahead. Brenton Hobson keeping the momentum up around the outside of Ryan Jones coming into the Tri-Oval. 2x2 and 2 deep. Jake Maloney's found himself in fifth place looking for a move. And take it easy, Hayden. Don't want to take out Ryan here, but Cade Donnelly goes very deep into the first turn and super wide. He's going to stay with the top 5 pack though, so I don't think he should be too disappointed with that. Jones still leads now. Veld in second and Hobson in third. That's Sam Devantier and Gregory Favell heading into the pits for damage repair, I believe, as the top 5 all together. And oh no, Cade Donnelly off the circuit. I think that's a hardware failure.
Wow.
He just went straight.
And he's just rolling backwards. There's no braking, there's no nothing. I think you're right. Been some sort of failure there for Cade Donnelly.
Oh, that's a big shame for Cade. And then there were 4 at the front of the field. Jones, Hobson, Veld and Maloney. All good-looking trucks, these ones. We'll have to wait and see which one looks the most beautiful at the end, crossing in the first position. We could have a surprise thrown up. It could be none of these guys who ends up taking a victory. We just have to wait and see as side by side up the front. Hobson almost getting into the wall there, taking a very wide exit out of the infield, and just a bit of a bump on Ryan Jones's rear, almost sending him around there. And at these high speeds, a single tap can really ruin your race, as we've seen before. There's Hayden Veld giving Hobbo the bump draft. Jake Maloney desperately searching for a way through, and that's Hobbo back into the lead, sweeps around the outside into the bus stop, as does Veld on Jones. Now Jones back into third, and side by side behind them, Daniel Stevens and Craig Roffey on the exit of the bus stop chicane. This is another fun battle that's been going on for a while.
Yeah, good to see Daniel Stevens working his way through. He's up 16 places, as is Craig Roffey. So they've started side by side, and they're still going side by side now, which is awesome to see. They get all the way towards the front. They're 5 seconds back from the lead, but they can close up very, very quickly based on how this race has gone so far.
Certainly could. Penultimate lap begins, though, for our leaders, and Hobson in the prime position coming into the first turn. Looks like they're all going to make it around turn 1 this time round without going outside track limits. But tell you what, Hayden Veld is looking ever so hungry here for the race lead on Brenton Hobson, going for the very outside wide entry into the hairpin. Hobson just keeping it in the middle of the road to try and keep him behind. But I think Hobson will know well and truly he will want to be behind a truck when coming out onto the oval on the final lap. That's the most important part. Seeing that Cade Donnelly has retired from the race, those technical dramas unfortunately not able to be overcome.
Fuel could be an issue here, lads, just saying.
Okay, Ryan Jones popping in there with a little bit of wisdom. I think the bump drafting has increased the fuel consumption somewhat. We might see these guys having to fuel save to make it to the finish, but let's just sit back and watch, see how things go. Sam Stride make it out of the pits, and now he's back into the top 10. Justin Howe right behind him. They're both picking their way through. Sam Devantier right with them as well, who also made a trip through the pits. And they're not fighting for any big positions at the moment, but still driving just as hard as up ahead, coming into the bus stop. Got to take it easy. Big curbs through here as well. Very easy to get a track cut warning. Looks like they've all managed to get through. Once again, it's going to be white flag this time by, and have a look at Hayden Veld and the draft that he has got on Brenton Hobson, just lifting off once he gets up to the rear bumper of the streamer. Bump drafting begins. Don't want to turn him around. Jake Maloney just behind has the momentum and has passed Ryan Jones for third place as they come across the line. Maloney could carry this momentum through the final lap and take a surprise victory here. He's going for the inside on Hayden Veld, sticks it right in there. Contact almost made between the two of them. Just a slight tap there on exit, but what a great opportunistic move there from Jake Maloney up into second.
Yeah, nice little move, and I'm wondering there whether Hayden actually was out of the throttle. Nice little bump there from Ryan to one of his best mates there, Hayden Veld. So let me know Lovelace there, and if you actually look on the bonnet of Hayden's truck. It does say, I'm going to punt Ryan to the moon.
Well, he's not going to get the opportunity this time because Ryan's just been punted off the circuit by Jake Maloney coming through the left-hand kink, and Hayden Veld gives his mate the room that he is deserved. And that's all managed to work out well for Brenton Hobson because he's way ahead of these guys. Christopher Finlay we briefly look at as Hobbo comes onto the oval here on the final lap. Jake Maloney could still have a chance on him here. I think that the draft is still in range.
It's going to be tight. Lead truck that has taken a pit stop with Sam Stride is 21 seconds back. That can be very, very quickly taken away if one of these guys or all of these guys start to cross.
Well, we've only got one more flat-out section to go after these turns. Hobbo goes into the bus stop, followed by Maloney, Jones and Veld. They all manage to make it through. But we'll see if Maloney is pushed hard enough here to try and get the move done on Brenton Hobson around the outside. It's just foot flat to the floor from now. And we will listen intently to these engines to see if they end up choking. Oh, Ryan Jones going down to the apron, trying to go for the move on Maloney. It's not going to happen, unfortunately. Hayden Veld with the draft. It's going to be super close for the podium as Hobson takes victory here. Wow, the top four covered by just an instant of time. That's incredible. 0.2 of a second covering them all. Hobson in the win. Jake Maloney and Hayden Veld completing the podium with Ryan Jones in fourth. It looks like Daniel Stevens taking a fantastic fifth place. Oh my goodness, between the pitters here. Take it easy, boys. All wide across the line. Goodness me. Righto. How on earth did that work out? It was Justin Howe in front. Oh, yeah, Lindsay Hobbs, 7th place, and getting turned around across the line too, for good measure. That was quite a spectacular way for his night to end.
Wait, what a night of racing we've had. I'm not upset that we've had 2 races because I think that made the racing a little bit more intense, a little bit more amazing.
Yeah, short and sweet, and very sweet indeed for Brenton Hobson, who takes victory by 1.5 tenths from Jake Maloney. Hayden Veld and Ryan Jones right with him across the line. Stevens completes the top 5 with Aaron Gilbert in 6th. Lindsay Hobbs, Justin Howe, Sam Stride and Sam Devantier. You see that they are covered by less than 1/10 of a second there for the top 10. That's great.
Incredibly tight between all of those. Christopher Finlay, Ben Stowell, Gregory Favell and Dwayne Priest, the top 14 with Ricardo Maganti, Philip Howe, Todd Maxfield rounding out the top 17. I can see one truck trying to limp to the line. I believe that's Bradley Kemp, who is stopped on the front straight and will not make it home. Todd Maxfield still limping around as well with Damien Westbrook.
Westbrook's coming across the line.
Yep, so he'll jump a couple of spots here. A second, there it goes, and there's someone getting sent to the moon in the background.
Yep, trying to get Bradley Kemp across the line, which succeeded. That was an altruistic move there by Zach Blanche to smash right into the back of him and pummel him across the line.
And he sacrificed himself too.
He did indeed. He is not going to make it to the finish. Kay Donnelly, Tommy Heyman, Bo Albert and Lockie Dalton, your retirees from this one. That's not how they would have wanted their night to end. Unfortunately for Gavin Sadler and Dylan Gray, their night didn't even get a chance to start.
What a night of racing.
What a night of racing indeed. And it's all going to go off again this time next week in the Pro Truck Showdown Summer Series. Oh, is it?
Yeah, we're going to have a week off next week for Christmas because it'll be the day after Boxing Day. We'll have a week off next week and be back in the new year.
Okay. No worries, a week's break here for the Pro Truck Showdown. And of course, as always, we don't know what next round's track is going to be. It will be revealed to us a little bit early, but the drivers won't find out until the day before. So that, I think, wraps up the Pro Truck Showdown for 2020. We're going to see you all in 2021. A big thanks to series supporters Racecraft Simulations and Scamander Coffee Mug. I'm Reese Gardner. It was Jay Kennedy alongside me in the commentary box and controlling all the cameras, making everything happen behind the scenes here on SimSpeed TV. Bye for now, but not forever. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
This is fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction. He's got rid of the outside of both of them. Maloney.
Oh, he's taking Anderson. Anderson's up to
Oh my God! Oh, big crash! Oh my goodness! Half the field's gonna get rolled.
Second very close. These guys, I want to make their way through the field very quickly.
Oh, there we go.
Oh no! That's massive!
This is it. This is over. I can't believe this. Oh my god.